It's Jay with the Over Manga Cast, and on this episode, Sakamoto Days' own Yuto Suzuki brings us Locker Room, a one-shot manga. Sometimes when you're down in your luck, all you need is a little magic. So sit down and buckle up. No excuse for not getting through this one on this episode of the Over Manga Cast.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and as always here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the property we read this week. This is a one-shot I had not heard of, so pretty easy answer, I hadn't heard of it. How about you, Matt?
I'm pretty sure I read this previously because it was just cycling around the internet because it was written by the creator of Sakamoto Days. So that is how I have seen it before.
All right, Jay, how about you?
Same for me. Have never heard of this before. This is a first take.
And Jacob?
One shot by the Sakamoto Day. Wait, just Locker Room on its own?
Yeah, Jacob.
Yes.
No, I hadn't read that one before.
I definitely don't have locker room as my favorite keyword.
Jake, were you distracted by the girls kissing on the cover again?
No.
How is it better, dear friend Jacob?
Jacob, that's a documentary. It's not supposed to be sexual. That's just what happens in a girl's locker room.
Jeez, it's a nature documentary. Making it gross. It's nature.
It's natural.
Jay's a girl, she'd know.
Revealing more gender truths on the Over Manga Cast. Someone send help.
Anyway, we open up on our actual reading this week with a nondescript man going to a rent-a-locker and going to put away some stuff, complaining about his crummy wage slave life. He's exhausted, doing day labor. His shoes are falling apart, and all he can think is, man, I just want some new sneakers.
Do we ever figure out what he does for his job?
He's a day laborer.
Yeah, I don't think we get any specifics beyond.
Yeah.
He does some physical labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something that requires him to have street clothes to change into, but not a place. He's probably doing like road construction or something because he needs a coin locker to keep his stuff in during the day.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
I think this coin locker also has like showers.
Yeah, it's kind of like a convenience place. I not like a gym or anything, but yeah.
Kind of truck stop.
Yeah.
And as he is walking away from the locker, having made his just pie in the sky wish of I just want some new shoes, he hears a thump. Something falls in the locker. Did I put something on the top shelf and it fell over? Let me go check that. Whoa, new kicks! Them fresh J's.
Yeah, he goes to the attendant like, I think someone forgot shoes in their locker.
And the attendant, a sleepy old guy, was like, huh? No, you're the only one who's come in here for like quite a while. Those are probably yours. Wait, you didn't happen to ask for something, did you? Ask for something? Yeah. If you make a wish in front of locker number 8, then the thing you're asking for will just kind of fall into it. Okay, crazy old man. Have a good day.
Yeah. It's a missed opportunity, but it really speaks to his character as an individual because he doesn't want to take the sneakers, even though he's identified that they, weren't left behind by somebody. But
the janitor is like, you can keep them. No one's gonna, claim them. They're they just appeared. They belong to nobody. So
made from whole cloth by the magic 3D printer locker.
Truly living in the future here.
And he decides to test this the next day at the same locker by wishing for a beer. Lo and behold, beer!
Yeah, and that works. And then old man comes out of the world revealing he's like, I told you years ago, I'm the Twilight Zone narrator of this story. As he goes like, I used to use it all the time, but I don't use it anymore. I bet you're wondering why I don't use it.
Nah, not particularly.
Well, too bad. I wasn't going to tell you. But make sure you use real 100 yen coins in the locker. And one more thing. It can probably bring out anything, but it always disappears by the end of the day.
And it's the most horror manga panel in this entire thing.
Guest panel by Junji Ito for a second there. Like, holy crap. Dude is framed so menacingly. But the concept that the magic locker produces an item that will disappear after 1 day is still apparently too much for our poor, overworked wage slave. So he still decides to give it a shot by wishing for some money. And he doesn't he doesn't have the temerity to wish for a ton. So he's just like, I don't know, like $200.
Yeah.
He just wants grocery money.
Yeah. And so we then tumble along with his various experiments of wishes. He gets some clothes, finds out that, he goes out to drink, I assume with friends, and realizes that, yes, indeed, those clothes do go poof after 1 day.
he stays out a little bit too late, because I think the implication is that he did the clothes thing for like a couple of days worth. Mm-hmm. It's just 1 day he happened to drink a little bit too much and fell asleep in the bathroom.
And all the clothes poofed, so he's buck ass naked. But it's really thorough how much this 1 day time limit works. Clothes gone, he's completely naked. He wishes for food, and then he suddenly feels hungry. He stops wishing for money because there's news reports of money disappearing from stores. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's probably bad for the economy. And I don't want to explain this to any cops, so I'm just gonna...
it would be really easy to track him down with a little bit of police legwork and a couple of months.
I'd be more worried about like the cashiers, because they get their tills counted, and if his money, he spends it, and their till is short.
Yeah.
Probably got a few people fired for that. Good job, asshole.
Yeah.
He does very clearly feel bad about that and realize the mistake and not do it again. But it's one of those monkey's paws moment where you don't think about the fact that the money disappears, because once you spend it, it no longer exists in your mind space. And then, by the way, money has been disappearing from stores.
But yeah, like the main thing about this is he kind of comes to the realization that this locker kind of sucks. The 1 day time limit, really the only thing he's finding value in is having it generate books that he doesn't have to buy anymore, so he can read them and then they disappear by the time he's done.
Yeah, so long as he can speedrun his way through a piece of media, he can just do that and get it done in a day. And yeah, Bob's your uncle. It's not going to remove the knowledge from his head.
Question about that, because at first immediately after he realizes the locker is working, he wishes for a beer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is beer not in the same, the same vein as food, because the food disappears and he's hungry now?
Liquid passes through the body much quicker.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought of, because it's like, obviously you think about how you'd use something like this, 1 day time limit and all. And one of the thoughts I had was, it's like, if the beer disappears from your system, then, it's like you could drink as much as you want and then it would poof out of you. But like, by the time the alcohol processes through your system, it's, it's already going to naturally process out before the day time limit is up, so it doesn't do anything.
See, Jacob, you're doing some rookie numbers, because you're not understanding. You could get blitzed, and then when you're in your like 2 day hangover, that's cut in half.
And for some reason, you'd want that.
As all of the alcohol molecules suddenly are removed from your system.
Well, I don't normally drink, so I don't.
You then suddenly realize you haven't consumed any regular fluids either over the past day.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because I don't know if a hangover is entirely correlated with the alcohol content.
Or the dehydration.
Or if it's your body's reaction to alcohol having been present at some point. I don't know.
Guys, you're ruining the only thing I would use this locker for. Really.
I would use it for manga, okay? I'm going to be honest, because I can rip through those books.
As our protag and the old man are talking.
Do we ever get his name, come to think of it?
We get protag's name. We don't get old man's name.
He's just an old Ojitan.
Yep. Senior citizen working at a job to keep himself distracted.
Yep. He's asked what he used the locker for, and then we just get a weird cut to his desk that's got a photo of him and his son, and then he says, pretty much you, just messing around.
Yeah, you looked like you had a real haunted expression on your face there for a second. Don't worry about it. Anyway, what are you thinking about using it for next? I don't know. Maybe I could bring out something like a living thing like a dog, or maybe another person? Don't do that. What? Don't do that. Don't use it to bring out a person. I'm leaving now.
Did that old man say something? Well, better forget that.
Anyway, a couple of days later, it devolves to what you expect.
He 3D prints in the magic locker a girl. Except he wasn't specific enough in his wish, and she slapped him when he asked her out on a date.
Yeah, because what happened was it gave him just a girl, and suddenly he's just like, hey, how about we go out on a date? And like, I don't know why I'm in a locker room with some strange dude who now wants me to follow him home. Like
literally they pulled some girl off the street who's just like, what the?
So
he gets decked.
Yes.
He decides to try again a few days later, being more specific to wish for a friendly girl.
Who would just go out with random dude that she met outside of a locker. I don't know if I trust his judgment.
Yeah.
That is kind of the point.
He continues to use the locker to wish for various kinds of women, finding that this one-day girlfriend thing is pretty nice because it allows him to enjoy going out on dates, and then, well, they're gone the next day. No need to worry about the complications of a long-term relationship. Hey, are we concerning ourselves with the fact that this thing produces living beings and then deletes them after a day? That's weird, right?
Maybe.
That's weird?
I'm sure it won't come up immediately after this point.
I love the fact that he's on like a late night date with a girl, which, considering this manga is kind of weird about whether or not the 1 day limit is 24 hours from when you make the wish or like Cinderella's pumpkin at midnight. Because it sometimes has things disappear overnight, and then this one he's just like at her drinking with her at a bar.
I think it's a Cinderella at midnight thing because drinking at night.
You'd think, but then the ending doesn't make sense, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, but he wishes up another girl, and they're sitting in front of the locker with a whole bunch of magically printed beers, getting drunk. He wanders away to go take a piss, and she is slumped on the desk. It's here where we learn his name, Hashimoto-kun. And while he is taking his piss, she passes out from drinking, comes to a little bit, and is looking around like, hey, where's Hashimoto-kun? Come on back. I wish he was here.
But yeah, Hashimoto ends up transporting into the locker, presumably midstream, so I can only assume he's pissed all over this door, but like, that's neither here nor there. Because he is now very confused.
He's very confused and very worried because he steps out of the locker, sees the girl drunk, being like, oh, hey, he came out of the locker. That's crazy. Poof. And all of the implications, all the realization crashes in on him at once. That's why you don't wish for a person, because beyond the existential crisis of creating 24-hour expiry date people, they can make wishes on the locker too.
And I love how he's having this like existential crisis, just collapse on the floor, and the old man comes and is like, "That's why you don't wish for people. I told you. Old man, what are you doing here so late? Old man, what's going on? What a weird time for you to be here. I told you.
100% believe he probably like lives upstairs or something. Like,
oh, 100%, because he's just like, don't worry. I know how you can't disappear. There's one way. Decades later, the coin locker is still in business, and in comes a raggedy old man who comes in every single day at the exact same time. Every day, ever since that day, I wonder, is tomorrow me? Still me? Clunk.
Very classic monkey's paw style ending.
Yeah, and that is the reading.
It's a very brisk read and very compelling.
It is very prestige at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
the ethical question or the philosophical question at the end is the prestige. The whole of it is kind of a different story. But
yeah. It's that thing that we've talked about a few times, most notably in the summer Hikaru died, talking about the good old ship of Theseus and the breaking consciousness of sleeping.
So here's I will posit this because this normally doesn't happen. I think if it is just creating a whole new him, that is so much more comforting to me, because the alternative is he was transporting women into the locker or like molding their brain to be what he wanted, and then those women just died.
Yeah, if it's creating things whole cloth, yeah.
If it's creating things whole cloth, that's less bad than when you wish for people. It just brings a person into the locker and gives them an expiry date.
Yeah, because like here's the thing. It's like if like you wish for something to appear and then after the time it goes back to where it had been previously or something like that, that's different, because then he wouldn't have this problem. So the things that disappear cease to exist.
Which, if you remember earlier, they said that money had just been disappearing from supermarkets. Mm-hmm. So what if it was disappearing because it was getting teleported into the locker and then he'd spend it and then disintegrating?
Yeah, so it's actually double the problem.
Because if you look, the money when he gets it initially is folded as if it were, they're not like clean, crisp bills, which is what you think you'd get if you just ask for money. It's just like pocket change.
So it kind of follows the same idea of like a genie, I think.
Yeah, it's very
classic genie, not like Disney Aladdin.
Oh
genie,
no, this has
Mm.
repercussions.
Not like Will Smith, the only genie we ever need.
We shall not utter his name.
But yeah,
we should keep his name out of our goddamn mouths.
Well,
yes.
Speak for yourself. You're the one who said the name.
Okay.
But yeah, a djinn is what we're talking about. We're talking about a djinn.
Yes.
So,
and the idea that this thing is not creating matter and energy, flagrantly breaking all laws of thermodynamics.
Right, because it's not already a magic locker.
Yeah. Sam, what are you doing there?
No, I'm agreeing with you, Matt. It's like, if it does that, then that is the least bad.
Well, yes, if it is whole cloth just creating things, that is so much better than the fact he killed so many women whose families now just have missing
people.
Yeah, it created a missing persons crisis,
which we don't know because we don't get any news reports to that effect. We do know about the money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? I think maybe that is what he's doing, is he's having to like go to the locker at midnight. So maybe it is like when the clock strikes 12.
Well,
and it becomes the next day.
even if he's going earlier, like the idea might be that he goes early and just has 2 of them around for a while because he doesn't want to miss the deadline. So like even if he's going earlier in the day,
I don't think there can be 2 of him because I think that he's wondering, is the me that comes out of the locker the real me? Because the prestige has that, but like that's a whole different problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. We never see the moment after he wishes for himself, and we never hear the stipulations of how he wishes it, because we know that how he phrases it is important, because he needed to wish for a friendly girl to not get some just random personality that would probably tell him to screw off.
But he chose to age.
Yeah, it's like after he wished for himself, did the one who did the wish immediately blink out
disappear? Of existence? Yeah. The fact...
Well, he disappeared from the bathroom he was in when he was summoned is the thing. Like, that's...
Yeah.
That's
when someone wishes for him, the real original him disappeared and a new version of him was created in the locker. And it's like, there's the continuity of, is that the same person or is that simply a locker construct?
Which is also the horrifying thing about, like, oh, he was stealing the money and mind wiping those women who then disappeared at midnight and never went home. Like,
did the locker, like, especially like, if he's like imagining a specific non-real person to be like the ideal one-day girlfriend, like it might be creating something out of nothing. Whereas if he's just, I want a girl to appear, it might have pulled a real person. But like, that's the thing, we don't know. Like, that's kind of the horror of it.
Another thought is if they were going to a public bar, like I'm assuming this is an up-and-up establishment. And I'm also applying our cultural bias as, people in the US. If she got carded.
They don't card in Japan.
They do sometimes, yeah. If you're a foreigner, they don't.
I think one of the bigger questions in that regard is, man enters bar with girl. Man leaves without girl. No one else in the bar sees where she went.
She does disappear while sitting at the bar in this crowded establishment is kind of the...
Yeah. I've heard of people getting ghosted before, but this is ridiculous. Alternatively, it's the knife Waffle House from Go-Go Loser Ranger.
Yes.
We're used to people just disappearing at this establishment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is probably why he sticks to public places, though, because probably what happened was he brought the first couple of girls back to his apartment or whatever, and then was realizing, oh man, my neighbors are going to be wondering why I'm bringing a different girl home each night. And why they never seem to leave. They never see
police.
Police.
Police? Hello, police? I think we might have a serial killer.
Yeah. So
maybe we do anyway. That's the concern.
So here's the other question. What do you think the old man did?
Based on the photo of his son, either one of 2 things happened. For instance, something happened to the son and the father wished for his son back.
Sometimes dead is better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or the father tried, something similar to our protagonist, and, he too mysteriously has to wish, but that's unlikely, I think, just because of, I don't know, something about how the time frames line up. But I mean, I also think about how he like randomly seems to appear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, considering how much the main character is at that locker, it seems unlikely that the janitor was in the same situation where he has to wish himself into existence over and over again. But that's possible.
I think it's more likely of the son because I don't know how wistfully he kind of looks, and how adamant he's like, "Do not do this for people. Do not."
Mm-hmm.
I could even see a situation where this is 100% the excellent example of horror is scarier when you let your imagination run wild, because I have basically no evidence of this whatsoever, but considering how it worked when someone wished for the main character, I could imagine a scenario where like his son was like like had a severe illness, was like had some kind of medical problem, and he wished for his son to be healthy, so he's healthy for a day until he poofs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's every careful what you wish for all rolled into one. It's Geppetto, it's the monkey's paw, it's Alphonse and Edward trying to get their mom back. But we never get anything that would confirm it one way or another beyond just that one shot of the desk and his haunted expression, which is yeah, I think I'm with Jake that it was him wanting his son back, and then he must have, because he knew the method of just wish them back every day, and it's effectively like a normal life, except for, if you mess up that timer, it can be kind of hard to explain.
Not to mention the whole "am I a real boy" ship of Theseus situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is so much fun because I'm crafting an entire other story in my head based off of the unanswered questions of it. Because it's like, just imagine the scenario where, his son wanted to be a baseball player because it's Japan, and he, had some condition with his legs that relegated him to a wheelchair. So the father is I'm gonna do something nice for my son. I wish my son was here, perfectly healthy and able to fulfill his dream. And then, the son disappears, and he tries to keep, wishing the son back. At some point, the son is like, "Am I a real boy?" and refuses to get wished back. And thus haunted expression.
The existential horror of that question prevented him from.
Plus, we know that had to be like the third or fourth try, because the first time was definitely, "I wish for healthy legs for my son." And then he opened the locker and was just horrified.
Because it's just legs.
I thought that eventually that the father got tired of having to summon the son over and over and over again. Either there was a lapse where he forgot one time and panicked, and then over the years, his memory of his son, I don't know if one's mental state affects how the person is able to be summoned or crafted. So
I don't remember my son anymore. I just remember the horror.
Not the horror, but I mean, maybe he had like an idealized view of him, and then, kind of was confronted with the fact that this isn't my son, because you're going off of a memory.
We kind of see that with like the main character when it's like decades later. You could take that as he's just aged normally, or it could literally be like he's remaking himself from the image he sees, so he ends up being a copy of a copy of a copy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he says from the one-day girlfriends, "Oh, it's so great that it's just a one-day thing. I don't have to worry about the complications of a long-term relationship." Flip that around to, "Oh God, if I don't keep doing this, my son is going to disappear. Oh, if something happens to me and I don't wish him back, he's never going to grow up. Oh, if I don't tell him what to do and impose this horror upon him, he'll
never know to wish himself back if something happens to me."
Yeah, and another thought I thought of was like 50 First Dates, of, how she keeps the diary.
Yeah, known horror movie, 50 First Dates.
No, I'm just saying like the amnesia part of it.
But yeah.
If he keeps a diary of himself, eventually that diary is going to be super long, and you never will be able to, internalize all of your memories before you run out of time.
Wow, more reasons for 50 First Dates to be horrifying.
I'm just saying, like, I rewatched it, like, this was years ago, but I watched it the first time, enjoyed it, rewatched it, and then it just like dawned on me how horrific this would be.
50 First Dates has that one scene where they've decided that reading the journal was taking too long, so they just made like a home movie to watch, but then it became like 2 hours long, and I'm just thinking like, they have 2 children. There was a time where she was like 7 months pregnant, wakes up 7 months pregnant from like last she remembers she was 17 years old, and then is asked to watch a VCR tape, just says, "Watch me." And then she's watching a 2-hour long movie about someone 30 years older than her. Like,
and I think that's what happened with Old Man Janitor. He saw all of that coming and decided, I don't have the mental fortitude or the the moral capacity to put whatever the locker produces through this facsimile of my son. I'm just going to let my son die and be gone.
Oh, see, 100% what I think happened was he missed a day because of something and then had to bring back his son again, but it brought back a fresh copy and that just broke him.
Yeah.
And that's why he kind of maintains the shop as a vigil, but why he's got that haunted expression of I don't use it anymore.
I wonder if he has any other customers.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, it seems pretty quiet there.
It almost seems like he's purposely keeping the business kind of undesirable specifically to keep people out.
Yeah, barely sustainable so that nobody else stumbles across the magic locker.
But then he is just willing to give the full rundown of how to use the magic locker. So
there is also the factor that you could just put tape over that locker out of order and not let anyone go near it or use it.
Well, the problem is it works by just people wishing outside of the locker. So if you hear something drop inside of it, it doesn't matter if you've locked it off or say it's out of order.
It just takes one curious person to wonder what that noise was and not care about the out of order do not cross.
You could remove the locker though. And I wonder if anything would populate in that space.
Yeah, if that would do something. My also thought is, any amount of prevention at all would have been nice.
Nah.
With this eldritch horror.
Really just not walking out of the office and going, this is exactly how to use it, but don't use it because it's horrible. It's literally Pet Cemetery. It's just well, there's the Pet Cemetery where if you bury dead children, they come back, but they come back different. So don't do it. It's not worth it. But also, this is exactly how to get to the Pet Cemetery, and I'll help you. You're giving me mixed messages, old man. What do you want?
Behold, temptation.
My entire character is a cocaine and whiskey fueled fever dream.
You're gonna fall for the temptation, and it's gonna be horrifying.
Did you remember Cujo? I'll tell you a little bit about Cujo. That's canon in this story. Hey, listeners, in case you don't know, I don't like Stephen King, and I think that's very obvious.
Wow, you don't say.
I enjoy Stephen King's works, and Matt reminds me every day.
So now that we've thoroughly, or maybe not thoroughly, there's 1,000 permutations of this, but now that we've explored the truly horrific implications of this mystical locker, what'd you think of the one shot? I thought it was a effective little piece of spookiness, good bit of the old existential horror to really add some. I mean, I read this on my lunch break. It was very breezy, very easy to read, and good little bit of spookiness. I enjoyed this a lot.
It was it's one of those ones where it's it feels light and breezy and mundane, so it's not like it's gonna creep under your skin and linger with you. This has been done many times before, and this is an effective example of a sort of cosmic adjacent horror trope that you've seen before. I liked it. The art was good. It was well executed. It didn't surprise me, but it wasn't really trying to.
Yeah, it's a solid example of the careful what you wish for classic cautionary tale. Would you agree, Matt?
Yeah, I liked it. I think if I were to have one critique, I'd say I wasn't really sold on the Ship of Theseus kind of stinger it did at the end. That being said, I do think the length on this was perfect, and it was very light and breezy and kind of got to the thesis statement and kind of just let it linger on that in a way that was really effective. I guess I think I'm more interested in the implicit horror of this does the defined thing of transporting people and moving that. I think that horror I like better than the I don't know if this is making a copy of me or the real me. Because I didn't think it built that up enough. That was just kind of the stinger to be careful what you wish for kind of story.
Yeah.
That it kind of isn't sure tonally if it wants to be a be careful what you wish for, like comedy, or like a
horror, like a full-on horror.
Which really, other than the old man saying creepy things and then the stinger at the end, it really isn't a horror.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that assessment.
What do you think, Jay?
I guess the lone person who does like Stephen King, for what it's worth. I did enjoy this. I enjoy things that make you think. I do like the idea that these, as Matt said, that these were, real items that were out in the world that were being transported for the convenience of whoever came upon the locker and wished upon it and then ceased to exist in some way. I just feel like that is just, I don't want to say more literarily pleasing, as opposed to a feel-good story of, oh yeah, this is just like a vending machine where it just materializes matter. And, nothing is really, lost. It's all gain. And I feel that the world of, the missing money really kind of, at least for me, provided that element of horror that, makes you think about the other implications.
Yeah.
Like the implication of that first girl that slapped him, she just walked away. Where was she going?
That was 100% just a girl who came off the street is the thing I'm thinking. Like,
yeah, that's what I said. She was just some girl off the street, acted like any girl who came off the street who just was asked by some dude to go out with her. She's like, who the heck are you?
She goes back out to continue with her day, and then that is the last day she will ever exist. And I mean, not for nothing, there's a part of me that thinks that I think it's honestly scarier the fact that they don't confirm that that's how it works, because you can tell yourself that it's just poofing things into existence. You can justify the idea that as long as he's specific, it's creating something new. But then why did he show up in the locker? And it's like that. It's like you want it to not be as horrifying, but it might really be that horrifying. In fact, it really looks like it might be that horrifying.
Also, not to say the old man had the wrong plan about what to do with this thing, but if I were to try and maintain the locker secret, I would have built a diet restaurant around it. And then anytime someone ordered a diet restaurant, so I'd be like, oh yes, all this food is super healthy. You won't gain any
zero
weight.
Calorie food.
Zero
For
calorie
people who
food?
don't understand, the Japanese parliamentary system is called the diet.
I didn't know that.
No, diet like weight loss. Or in this case, malnutrition.
Well, no, you just don't.
You feel like he could have a weight loss center.
You advertise that it's 0 calorie filling food, like, because that way you're just like, hey,
you can eat all you want and you won't gain a pound.
It's
actually this would just fuel eating disorders. Heck yes, you would just have binge eating disorder.
Yeah, but like their money's still green. I don't know what your problem is.
Just saying, just would not be a great mental.
It's that little demon in your soul that says that Doritos don't have calories on the weekend, and you know what? It's right.
and I hate to tell you this, most liquor stores, like 90% of their profits come from alcoholics. So
there's a market for this.
Thank you, everyone, once again for tuning into the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all of your social medias where we are at Over Manga Cast.
You can also find us on YouTube where you can.
Oh shit! He ran out. Okay, I'm gonna run to the. I'm gonna go run to the thing. Matt, you can take over, right?
Yeah. Could you give this Jacob like better taste?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Thanks. And as always, we appreciate reviews in any and all form. You could reach us over mangacast@gmail.com. We love recommendations. We love hearing from you. And you know what? Sam, what are we reading next week?
Okay, I'm back. Right, next week. We're reading Undead Unluck, chapters 1 through 20. So if you're keeping up with the show, be sure to read that, and we'll see you all next Thursday.
Good night.
Make sure you use your time wisely, guys.
You never know when it will run out.
God, I wish Jake was here to end the episode.
Good night, everybody.
Ah!